Hello and welcome to Technology Forecasting for Strategic Decision Making. We are here for a special day today. Uh, it is a phenomena that occurs once or twice a year. I'll come back to that later. First of all, I want to tell you that I am here right behind me. You can see a sundial. A sundial is an instrument, a very rudimentary one that you can see behind me. It is a pipe and an odds and ends that my son and I put together with a flower pot, so that you can look at the shadow that the sun actually casts on the ground, and you can tell what time it is after you have calibrated it. So that's the basic mechanism, and people across ages have actually felt the need for measuring time and telling time very accurately. We do this to this day, but it was also a practice eons ago, centuries ago, millennia ago. Okay, so it is important to have a track on time. I'm going to describe to you one of the ancient astronomers who was also very interested in time and astronomical phenomena. Okay, he was a mathematician by name Aryabhata, who lived in the 5th century AD in northern India, in a state called Bihar. And he studied in a university called Nalanda University. He was the top honcho of the university itself. He was the head of the university, and his main contributions to mathematics has been enormous, very impressive. He is attributed to the invention of zero, which we take for granted. It's all around us in financial systems and mathematical systems. Mathematics, the presence of zero is always there. So it was attributed to him, the invention of zero. He was also the inventor of trigonometry. He came up with sine and cosine and how important it is. It has made a big difference in all our construction calculation. Also, another one that is important is the calculation of pi, the rational number pi, which we use in circles and circular buildings and all that. So that's important. He calculated it to 4 places of decimal, which is impressive considering that there were no advanced machines, advanced calculators, all with the power of his brain. Okay, so back to astronomy. Astronomy, he said, Earth is not static, doesn't appear to be static for me, as was thought at the time. So he said, here's the example that is going to convince you that maybe Earth is not static. He said, if you're in a lake in a boat and you see people on the shore, they seem to be moving with respect to you. Although it is you who is moving, you assume that it is the people, you can assume that people on the shore are moving. So he said, people on Earth are exactly the same way. We are actually moving, and we look at the stars and say the stars are moving. Okay, it's the same phenomena that he proposed as a theory. In fact, he used that and calculated. He said Earth is one, it is probably moving around itself and is also moving around something else. Okay, and so he didn't just say, oh, this is an idea I have. We actually sat down and calculated using his own brain without any advanced instruments. He calculated and was so close to the calculation of the duration of the day and also the duration of the year. He calculated within 3 minutes was the error that he had made, the calculation of a year. Okay, so he could also calculate many things using these calculations that he had come out with. He could do advanced stuff in mathematics, and he published it under a book called Aryabhatiya. That was the name of the book that he published when he was 23 years old. So it's one of the key books that has shaped the way humanity thinks about mathematics. It had been translated to many other languages, including Persian, and that made its way to Europe, is what the stories say. Now, why am I discussing astronomy and an ancient astronomer in this course? So this is a special day, as I said. We'll come back to that. Okay, so why is today a special day, and what has Aryabhata, the story of Aryabhata, got to do with technology forecasting? So, why is today a special day? Today happens to be a solar eclipse, an annular solar eclipse. So, June 21st, 2020. Today's date is June 21st, June 21st, 2020. So, this is an annular solar eclipse, which is basically says that you will see a ring of fire around the sun when the moon goes across it. Okay, so Aryabhata calculated, and he said that the reason for a solar eclipse is because the moon gets in between the sun and the earth, and it blocks the sun like that, and no other celestial phenomena like a mythical dragon or a mythical creature is eating it and spitting it out, none of that, but it's actually a valid scientific phenomena. And he tried his best to convey this to his audience throughout the world, to say that this is how the actual mechanism works, so that people fear less of the solar eclipse and appreciate it, that it's a natural phenomena that occurs, and that one can actually calculate it to a very precise time and location as to what when the solar eclipse is going to happen, how long is it going to last, and where is it going to occur. So he actually established an astral observatory, a solar observatory near Nalanda University, and he used that because it was one of the best places to observe a solar eclipse. So he was very active in this field of solar eclipse, and also dispelling the myths and superstitions around solar eclipse. So I thought I could use this as an opportunity to tell you this phenomena on this particular day that we are recording it. Another thing, so what is, now I've answered the first part, why is today a special day, but what about the second part? What has Aryabhata got to do with technology forecasting? So as you probably have guessed it, he used data, he used observations, he used models, he used calculations. So this is something that is going to be a repetitive phenomenon even in our course. We are going to look for observations, we are going to look for calculations, we are going to look for models, and then finally we are going to be able to predict. So the more you know about a particular model, particular phenomena, it is easier to, you know where to gather data. Once you gather data, you can build your models. Once you know the models, you can actually calculate. So that is something that you will see as a recurring pattern in the course, and we will give you enough methods and tools for you to gather data. First of all, observe, gather data, plug it into a model, build the model itself, plug it into the model, run it and see if it works for you, and then progress with that. So that's going to be the generic pattern, and I thought this is a great opportunity for us to learn from the greats. We're going to stand on the shoulders of the giants like Aryabhata from the 5th century AD. So hopefully you will appreciate a lunar eclipse or a solar eclipse the next time it comes. Be safe. We are going to use a pinhole projector or a binocular inverted, and we're going to look at the shadow on the ground and not look into the sun directly, as it's unsafe to look into the sun. Under eclipse or no eclipse, it's not advisable to look into the sun directly. So we are going to try and see if we can build such a projector and observe the natural phenomena. Okay, so this is me signing off, and hopefully if our projector works, I will show you how it works. Thank you so much.